सर मैं हर एक हर को होस्ट तो then we will able to start the presentation.
Is my PPT visible? Okay. Hello? Can I?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Is my PPT visible?
Yes, yes,
And are the slides changing?
yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. Thank you. So, well, to start with, I hope that I am audible and my PPT is visible.
Clearly visible.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the confirmation. Now, to start with, about the plagiarism. Now, what is plagiarism? So, I think the word is self-explanatory. If we are presenting somebody else's idea and then presenting it like it's my own idea, then that is called plagiarism. Because here we are not giving the proper acknowledgement or proper credit to the author who actually deserve the acknowledgement for creating a original idea or a novel idea. So that is why if we are presenting somebody else's idea or a borrowed idea as our own, that comes into picture as a plagiarism. So it's a very simple principle. Like if we are using somebody, either it's a work or anything. If we see anything which we are presenting and like our own, and we are not, bringing into picture the original creator or the original author or the original owner of anything or any idea, that is called plagiarism. Now, it's not only confined to the copying the words only. It's like if I'm presenting somebody's idea or I have borrowed somebody's text or words and then presenting as my own. That is, I'm stealing the idea of someone else's idea by just putting into picture that it's my own original idea. And then I'm also not giving credit to the original creator who actually deserves for creating new information by putting lot of efforts, because creating or inventing new information which is helpful for the society or a research community as a whole actually deserves proper acknowledgement, appropriate acknowledgement for creating such an information. So I'm not giving proper credit to that author as well. Now, improper paraphrasing. It's very important to understand what is improper paraphrasing. It's like if I am just borrowing somebody else's idea and I have pasted in my text, in my content, and then I am just replacing a few of the words using synonyms. That is actually the improper paraphrasing, because somewhere the idea remains, even the words also remains the same. A few selective words have been replaced by me using the synonyms. That is actually the example of improper paraphrasing. Why is plagiarism a serious issue? It's a serious issue nowadays. Why? Because it disrupts the academic integrity. It does not give the credit to the original creator who actually deserves it. And that is why it's a serious issue, because somewhere the owner of the information or the original creator gets hurt because he or she does not give the proper acknowledgement, wherein he has put lot of efforts, knowledge, and the time. The time is also invested. Different type of resources have been invested in order to create a new information. So that is why it also refuses to give credit to the original creator of the information. It misrepresents that. Yes, the version the researcher has presented in his research, that is actually distorted. So somewhere it's a serious issue, because whatever the researcher wants to convey to the reader, that is actually the version gets distorted. So that is why it is a threat also to the society or to the research community. It damages credibility and trust. Yes, how it damages credibility? An established author who has published a lot of publications and in his field, and then in just one publication, he or she might have involved in such kind of act. But then what happens? When the credibility and trust is damaged, then whatever whatever the researcher has published so far, like in past research also, that also becomes questionable, because everybody, the everybody, has the trust is shaken somewhere, that whether to trust that particular researcher or not, whatever he or she is publishing in a respective field, can lead to academic, professional, and legal consequences as well. So a researcher has to bear all these kinds of consequences as well. So if we club honesty, trust, and responsibility, then it becomes an academic integrity, where a researcher has to take the responsibility of whatever he or she has produced. Now, there are different types of plagiarism. First is direct or verbatim plagiarism. I think that's yeah, direct or verbatim plagiarism. Now, verbatim is like copying word to word. That is, and also not giving the quotation marks and a proper in text as well. So, copying is as it is. Whatever has been published somewhere, that has been copied and pasted. So that is a direct or a verbatim plagiarism. And exact word to word is matched. And that too without any quotation. Because when such situation arises, where we are, like, if we are giving any definition or any explanation, like the researchers, they used to give in footnotes, or like in any kind of definition, whatever it is, any code which is copied word to word should be put within double quotes, because double quotes, like just at a glimpse only, it shows that this is a quotation, or this is an idea created by someone else, and with in text as well. Now, how to avoid it? Use quotation marks. It's always advisable to use quotation marks, provide in-text citation, and include the source in the reference list. Now, this is very important, that quotation marks, there are other formats as well, which through which the researcher can convey that this is a quotation mark. But the thing is, like, if we put within double quotes, because what I have discussed with other researchers, they are of the view that the quotations can be put in a they can change the indent. That quotation can be can be shown with italics. That every kind of formatting is fine, but these are all secondary. The primary thing is, and the primary the formatting which shows that this is a quote, it's within double quotes. And even the softwares which we use in order to scrutinize the research is also identifies double quotes only. So in order to just to show that this is a quote, this is very important that such text can be put within double quotes. Mosaic or patchwork plagiarism, it's like referring to different sources and then selecting few of the ideas and compiling into one file. That is like patchwork or mosaic kind of thing. So different sources, from different sources, different content is borrowed, and it's compiled, and a one text file or a one content file is created. That is a patchwork. And here also, as I've already shared, like few of the synonyms just to evade the similarity or plagiarism is like replacing few of the words with synonyms. That doesn't work in this scenario now, where we have detection softwares in place. Now, retaining the sources, sentence structure, and wording can still constitute plagiarism, and that is why when even a few of the words are replaced with synonyms, still that content is highlighted by the software, and then there is a dilemma from the researchers side, that it is matching the few of the similar words or few of the common words. So it is because the structure of the sentence is still retained. only a researcher is only tried to replace a few of the words with the synonyms. But then what about the structure and the flow of the content? It remains the same because it has retained the same, and that is why the software has matched with the published work. Paraphrasing plagiarism. Now, paraphrasing plagiarism, it's like changing only a few words, like it's discussed in just a few of the previous slides, that few of the words is changed with these synonyms. That is paraphrasing plagiarism, and where even the source of the idea, even the original source is not shared, or it's not acknowledged in text. That is why in-text citations need to be given, whether it's a direct quote or it's a paraphrased version. A paraphrased version doesn't mean that in-text citation does not need not to be included. Either it's a verbatim or it's a paraphrased idea. Both, because the idea is obviously not the researching, it is paraphrasing. So the idea, the original idea, is of someone else, and that is why that someone else deserves to be in the in-text. So that in-text, that someone else need to be there within the in-text. So in-text citation need to be there, and that is why any content, any research.
Ankur, please, can you mute yourself? Ankur, Nital. Yes, Sipra, sorry.
And that is why whenever whenever even a content or an idea is paraphrased, that in-text always need to be there. And one more important thing which I've always come across, like in FAQs from the researcher side, that while removing, or while as per UGC regulation 2018, references can be excluded while scrutinizing the content. So it's the researchers, they are always of this view that even the in-text also need to be removed, but that should not be there, because in-texts are also a part of a content, and it has a very significant role, because a reader will come, or one will come to know that from which source this information has been borrowed. So that is why in-texts are very important, and they play a significant role in the research. Now, effective paraphrasing, they requires understanding the source, yes, and writing independently and citing the original idea. So yes, writing independently is like the idea will remain the same. You cannot, because if someone has given some idea, and I want to quote that idea, just like a supporting text or a supporting content, then the idea remains the same. The idea will be the same, but the expression of words and the writing style of each researcher varies. So that is why the writing style can vary. The idea should remain the same. And that is why the in-text need to be given. So paraphrase ideas, they also require citation. It's not only if I'm giving any verbatim and putting any text within double quotes only requires in-text. No, paraphrased text also requires in-text. In-text citation. Self-plagiarism. Now, self-plagiarism is like where I have published a paper, and I'm working on a specific topic, and that topic covers various aspects. Now, I have one of the aspect of that particular title I have dealt with and published it. Now, another aspect I'm dealing now, and I want to publish it, but as the title remains same, so I have to give some introduction. Could be the methodology also remains the same. Like I conducted SLR, systematic literature review. Now also I'm doing the same. So like methodology maybe remains the same. Maybe the data, there might be difference in a data. So that change I can do. So I can copy it from my previous publication and then I can just copy it in the present one, saying that this is my own, publication, and I have a right to copy. This is self-plagiarism. This is like self-plagiarism, and this is about the information. Now, what about the data? Sometimes there are instances where the data is bulky and we cannot, publish the entire data, due to the limitation of the words. So somewhere we have to stop it, and we have to, we have to restrict it to a certain extent, so that this need to be disclosed. In my previous publication, I have to if I in my previous publication I have disclosed that this much of I have collected and this much is published, and due to certain limitations, I am like in my future publications, these things will be covered. So somewhere a disclaimer need to be given. One more important thing is like a data. I have collected a data. It's a bulky one, and then what I am doing, I'm intentionally, I am publishing the thin slices of the data into different publications. So this is like a salami slicing, because we are just slicing a data in thin slices. I have cut the thin slices of the data and collected a data and published 4 to 5 publications. So here also, like if one is doing it, one is, there are limitations. So if one has to give in disclaimer, the researcher need to be honest, because the disclaimers, whatever we are sharing in disclaimer, that need to be, whatever we are sharing in disclaimer, we need to be honest. These disclaimers cannot harm us, but yes, they are a kind of shield, because just at the initial stage, if the publisher has some issue with the data, the publisher will share with us. If there is no such issue, obviously the research will be published. But such kind of situation, if such kind of situation arises at later stage, it will create problem for the researcher. So self-plagiarism is like I have published it once, and then I am using that intro part or methodology part in my like future publications. That is also a self-plagiarism. Accidental plagiarism. So accidental plagiarism is like I missed some of the source to cite it, and then maybe incorrect citation is also one of the example of the accidental plagiarism. And lack of intention. So here it is like plagiarism. It's intentional plagiarism and it is unintentional plagiarism. If you go through a UGC regulation 2018, levels are given. Against each level, penalties are defined. But there, nowhere it is mentioned that for the unintentional there is no such category defined as for the unintentional plagiarism, there will be no penalties. There will be no penalties. So nowhere it is defined as. So it is important always to remember that whether it is intentional plagiarism or unintentional, the penalty remains the same. So that is why when we have AI tools in place, we have reference management softwares in place. So when we have such we do have presently an environment where we have such kind of softwares, research support softwares that are available, we need to make use of it, constructive use of these tools in order to improve the quality of the research, and also to avoid any kind of unintentional plagiarism. There are other forms of plagiarism as well. Now, idea plagiarism is like an idea that I have borrowed someone and I am not giving the proper acknowledgement which the original creator deserves. Data plagiarism, yes, if I'm copying the data. Sometimes like we through Google, we used to get the figures. Then we do not acknowledge that source. We even ignore that source. So here also we need to, and even somewhere we need to get for the images, we need to get the permission and we need to cite it. And there are data and the images also, for that we need to get the permission in order to reuse in our research. Image plagiarism, it's like charts, diagrams. Then source-based plagiarism is like citing a source that is not actually consulted. This is one of the, it's a threat also, because nowadays it's like whatever content is there, the references are taken very seriously by the publishers and the reviewers as well. If any extra source is given which is not cited in the text, that is pointed out immediately. And somewhere it affects the image of the researcher as well. And then everything which is cited or everything which is given in the research, it becomes a question mark. So this need to be taken care of, whenever sending the research for the publication, that whatever you are citing in giving as an in-text, then the references should be there. The references should reflect whatever the supporting text or the supporting ideas you are giving in your text. The references should be there only. Now, prevention. It is important to prevent, and then the certain measures need to be, or we can say that there are certain checklists that need to be we need to keep in mind. Now, ethical training at the initial stage. It is very important because, for the research work, yes, the basic guidelines remain. The basic ethical guidelines remains the same. But if we say for the specific disciplines, there need to be, or there are specific guidelines as well. If we talk about like coding, or we talk about writing the somewhere where we have to give the formulas and all, so, or conducting an experiment. So here the researcher at the initial level, so it's the responsibility of the researcher as well. It's not only the responsibility, we can say, to the other side, whosoever is on the other side is the responsibility of that fellow. It's the responsibility of the researcher as well, because ultimately the researcher will be the accountable and responsible for whatever intellectual output that is being produced by him or her. So that is why it is a responsibility of the researchers also to just be well versed about the ethical guidelines that need to be followed in a specific discipline. And this need to be done at the very initial stage when the research need to be started. Then strong institutional policies. There should be institutional policies, and then the researcher should also be well versed about such kind of institutional policies that are in place. That what are the institutional policies related to the plagiarism or the prevention. So, and then transparency and open data. So here at every level, the researcher, at every stage of the research, it is the responsibility of the researcher to be honest and transparent. If an AI tool is used, for language editing, be transparent. Be honest that AI tool is being used. If if a research paper is presented in a conference and the same paper is, the researcher wants to get published or submitting in a journal for the publication, the same thing need to be shared with the publisher by giving a disclaimer that either this is the extended version or this is the same version, whatever it is, that is already being presented in some conference. Because at the initial stage, if all the things will be transparent, it will be helpful for the researcher to go forward or to proceed further accordingly. But at the later stage, if this will come into picture through different sources, that could bring some kind of trouble also for the researcher, and the researcher could be in suit like in future. Open data, like here, whatever data we collect, now the publisher asks for the data in order to evaluate whether the data is fabricated or it's a falsified data. So in this way, the data also need to be evaluated. So on what kind of data the research is based, because the finding will, or the conclusion is based on the data only. Or if the data is fabricated or falsified, so obviously the finding will also be of no use to the society or to the research community. And it is said that the previous research, the present research is based on the previous research. So, previous research is the basic or the foundation of the ongoing researches. So, it will be threat to a society only. So responsible mentorship, yes, there should be responsible mentorship throughout the journey, and ethics should be integrated into research culture. Ethics, they play a significant role in research. So a research followed by the ethical guidelines always is treated as a quality research. So that is always there. So ethics need to be followed. Ethical guidelines need to be followed to conduct the research. Now, there are different consequences of plagiarism in academic, like it's a rejection, loss of marks, disciplinary action, or even cancellation of qualification. So even if it's like a major, a plagiarism that, any person or any researcher is involved into, so it even leads to the cancellation of a qualification also. For the profession, like if any professional is holding any position, so it will be like article. If any article is published, it is retracted at a later stage, and yes, it tarnished the image of the author. Now, reputational damage. Yes, the reputation of the author, the reputation is not built in a year or in a day. Sorry, in a day or two. It takes a lot of time to just, to develop a reputation, to establish a reputation in a respected field. And what happens when the image of the author is tarnished? It brings, lot of defame also. Loss of employment or opportunities. The legal and ethical consequences are also a part of, these plagiarism. And they, like copyright infringement, then violation of IPR, research impact, reduce trust in the researcher. Yes, then what happens that whenever that researcher will publish even in future, that will be not be trusted by the author, by the by the upcoming researchers, or even the society, to to trust on the findings of whatever the researcher has presented in a research, or even an institution or scholarly record. So the entire, the career of the researcher, it's, it brings lots of defame to the researcher, and the entire image of the researcher is tarnished. Now, how to avoid plagiarism? So there are 6 C's. Following those C's, maybe the plagiarism can be avoided. Now, cite sources properly. It is very important that whatever format one is following, that the sources, the whatever even the complete information need to be given. And that is why even the DOIs, if it's an online article, then the DOI of that article need to be given. So that is why cite the source properly, complete information need to be given. These sources are very important. Now, credit original authors. Give proper acknowledgement to the original creator of the idea. Check your work. The work need to be rechecked, that, any quotation is missed or any citation is missed, because these are very important. So that is why these are very important components, because the sources, the references, they are very important component of the research. Without the references, even the research or the article, even if we give an article for the publication, we submit it, that it is not be, considered as a quality one, because the research, any research, it's not coming out of the box. So every research, present research is based on the past research only. So that is why, and one need to support the text also. One need to support the idea or the findings or whatever it is. So past research need to be consulted or to be referred to. Create original content. So originality. So even when the PDS, the idea to to evaluate or to scrutinize the originality of the content, and that is why the references and the other things need to be excluded before evaluating any research. It's a research article or the PhD thesis or whatever scholarly content it is, because the idea is to scrutinize the original content. So that is why the quotations can be given, they can support the content, but the entire the research cannot contain the quotations only, because then the analysis of the researcher or the original content, it will be will not be gaining an important place in the file or in a research. Carefully paraphrase carefully, it is very important. Do not replace the synonyms, the words with the synonyms. The idea remains the same, but the writing style, the expression, the way of expression, everything varies from researcher to researcher. And even for paraphrasing, in-text need to be given. Consult style and institutional guidelines. So guidelines are very important whenever we are formatting it. So it's very important. These six C's can help to avoid plagiarism in research. Now, effective note taking. So whenever we are reading or whenever we write, we start the research. This is the initial stage. We need to segregate all the categories. That is, like, direct quotations need to be categorized. Paraphrase notes should be separately be segregated, and the own ideas. So all these things need not to be merged. So whenever we are, like, wherever we are giving direct quotations, that need to be put within double quotes. Paraphrase notes, in-text citation need to be given, and it's a proper paraphrasing. It's not only synonym should play an important role in 3 lines of the text, and the own ideas. So their own ideas are very important, and they actually occupy an important position in a file or in a research. Now, quotation marks for exact words and record, if there are, the information regarding the page numbers and whatever it is can be given. In-text may contain the information. Now, record the source at the time of reading. What happens when at the time of reading only we think, like, right now we will read it, and then we can write it, and then in the end, when I'm done with my writing work, I will record the sources. And then at that time, sometimes it happens that we are unable to locate that particular source. So it's very important that parallelly, the sources also need to be recorded, that this is the text I have gone through, and this is the particular source from where I got an idea. So the text and the idea and the source. So these things need to be, at one place. Now, clearly mark your own interpretations and ideas. It's your original ideas. Now, quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Now, quoting is what? It's using the exact words of a source. Whatever is given in a source, I'm just word to word, I'm just copying in my research. Paraphrasing, I've already shared that, the writing style may be different. The idea should remain the same, but it should be expressed in my own word, in my own style, and my own sentence structure. How I want to share this idea with my readers. Now, summarizing it, briefly presenting an idea. And all these 3 things, like quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing, all these 3 things, they require the proper acknowledgement of the original source. So nowhere it's like only when I'm giving a quotation, then only the proper acknowledgement or the credit need to be given. For paraphrasing and for summarizing, as I'm presenting in my own words, so there is no need. No, there is a need, and it's very important also, because as it's not the original idea, I've borrowed the idea from somewhere else, and I'm quoting in my research. So that is an in-text need to be given. Citation and referencing. Now, citation is very important because, it tells the reader that what is the source from where I have, I got this information. I've located this information. So this need to be given, and a reference list. This provides a complete source information. So this is like need to be given. There are different styles, and these are the common styles. And then journal policies are there, and there are journal policies, institutional policies, and specific discipline requirements are there. So whenever you just browse or navigate the publisher page, the guidelines are always given there. So one has to follow those guidelines, whenever formatting a research. So those guidelines need to be followed, and accordingly, this need to be formatted. Now, this is a simple research writing workflow. We search the literature, we read it, and then we jot down or note down the important points that can be included in the research work. Then writing work is done, then citing work. Yes, writing, and accordingly, whatever I'm writing, it's parallelly, it is cited, and then it is checked. It is checked using any of the software, or one can even go through it for the quotation, for missing quotations, missing citations. This need to be checked, that each and everything need to be articulated, need to be in a sync. Everything should be given, nothing should be missing, and then this need to be revised. So this is a simple research writing workflow. So it's like the researcher's contribution plus acknowledged sources. Yes, because the researcher's contribution is the present research, and the acknowledged sources is the previous or the past research. And the present research is based on the past research only. So that is why it's the researcher's contribution plus the acknowledged sources. Now, it is like plagiarism detection software. So plagiarism detection software. So as the name indicates, like it's a detection software. But these softwares, they can be aptly set as a similarity matching software or a text matching software, because the way these softwares function, they only match the published version. They only match the uploaded content with the published version, and that is why it's like if you have gone through the report generated by these softwares never say says that it's a 0% or 5% is the plagiarism, or 50% is the plagiarism. It always say it's a similarity. So it never gives the plagiarism percentage of a plagiarism. It gives the percentage of a similarity. So it says similarity percentage 5%, similarity percentage is 50%. So similarity percentage with the published version. So that is why they never say. And these software should not be, using the word plagiarism, because the researcher is the only person or the best person to evaluate that whether the highlighted content in the report is the plagiarism or it's the similarity. So that is why the software, it won't be justifiable also. If these softwares, they say plagiarism percentage. And so that is why they always say similarity percentage. They always give the similarity percentage, and they match the text with the published version. They just match the submitted text with the existing published version. And these are used in universities, research institutions, and academic publishing. So academic publishing, even the publishers, they are also using these softwares in order to scrutinize the content. So once it is scrutinized, then only it's the further process is being adopted for the reviewer to send for the reviewers. So at first stage also, because sometimes it happens that when the content gets deposited in the repository, at the first place only the publisher, they return to the researcher seeking the clarification. So that is why, which shows that even the publishers, going on to the next level, they scrutinize the version first. They scrutinize the submitted version of the research, and when the submitted version It comes, to the acceptable limit. It depends on publisher to publisher. Then when it hit the acceptable limit, then only it goes for the further proceedings. Now, why these softwares they are used? They are used because we do have UGC regulation 2018 in place, which says that the research this need to be scrutinized or evaluated using any of the softwares. Now, it also improves the quality of the research. Now, how it improves the quality of the research? When we have the report with us, the similarity report generated using these softwares, then it is highlighted. We do have the versions, the text which is highlighted. So now it is conveying that this is the text where the improvement is required or which needs editing. So I have to, go through this content. It's actually the alert message given by these softwares. So the software is alerting the research scholar that the highlighted text need to be revised or need to be revisited. If it's, sometimes it happens like the quotations. The quotations are missed. So if the quotation is missed, the researcher will be alerted that the quotation is missed, and the researcher will, put the quotation over there. So in this way, the quality of the research will be improved. Now, check the occurrences of intentional and unintentional plagiarism. Yes, like sometimes it happens, like I have copied and paraphrased. If I say an instance of improper paraphrasing, that is an intentional. So if it is intentional, it will be highlighted by the software and it will be conveyed that this need to be revisited or this content need to be edited. So in this way, the occurrences are the unintentional plagiarism, citation is missing, or quotation maybe many times it happens that these scholars, just to complete it, or sometimes like it is missed, open the quotations and then forgot to close the quotation. So if the quotation is not properly open or closed, this is said to be a mismatch of the quotations. So if there is a mismatch, then definitely it will be highlighted as a similarity. So this is also an occurrence of, or you can say instance of, unintentional plagiarism. So this is all conveyed through the research. And now awareness of research in the same field, how? Because many times it happens that the researchers they have shared that I have not consulted to this particular source, which is a part of the list of resources which which is provided by the report. So what happens? Why the source is in the list? That particular source is in the list because it has a similarity with what the content contains. So if it's a similarity, that is why that particular source is in the list. So which means if you have, or if a researcher has not consulted that particular source, so that source is still, it comes into picture, or the researcher becomes aware of such kind of source which is available and which is related to his or her field. So in this way, the researcher also comes to know the sources or a particular research publication that that talks about or that contains a work which is related to the researcher's field. Now, similarity is not automatically plagiarism. So here, whenever the researcher has the report, first of all, the similarity reports need to be interpreted very cautiously. So everything which is highlighted is not plagiarism. So there are references. If somebody, is scrutinizing the work with the references, so the references are also highlighted. There are common phrases. In every discipline, there are technical jargons. So we cannot, get away with this kind of technical jargons. If it's library will come. If it's JNU will come. So in this way, there are, in every field, there are common words, there are technical jargons that cannot be get away with. So that remains the same. So it's not plagiarism. The standard methodology, that standard methodology cannot be changed, for a research work. So that will come into, it will be highlighted, but it will not be treated as a plagiarism. So similarity score should be interpreted, not simply accepted or rejected. So if it is like 20%, one needs to go through the similarity report, that why this percentage is coming, what is all that is highlighted. So maybe there are instances of, mismatch quotations, missed citations, so that can be taken care of. So one cannot accept the similarity score as it is displayed, or even cannot reject it as it is displayed. So this need to be, the similarity report need to be interpreted very cautiously. Human evaluation is essential. It's very important, because human judgment, it's the researcher only who is the best person to judge that whether it is a similarity or it's a plagiarism, or it's, there is a very thin line, to differentiate between similarity and plagiarism. Plagiarism is if like, I'm just quoting it and I'm not giving it. The double quotes, it will be under the purview of plagiarism only. So there is very thin line. So one need to be, judgmental. One need to be judiciously. One need to go through it. The similarities good. Now, how does a similarity checker work, or a PDS plagiarism detection software works? The document is uploaded, then the text is extracted, and it is, compared with the databases. So databases that has all the journals, the articles. So that particular uploaded text is compared with the databases, and then the match is identified, report is generated. But the last is very important, that human evaluation is very important, because these software cannot replace the human work or human intellect. So the final academic decision, it requires expert human judgment. Now, there are common mistakes while using plagiarism checkers. Now, do not treat the percentage as a final wording. That is like, one has to go through it, that why the percentage is high. In case if the percentage is high, and in case if the percentage is low, at that time also one has to, go through it, because a researcher knows that, if an AI tool is used, then the researcher knows very well. And still, if it is coming, 5%, 6%, then why it is coming, why the text has not been highlighted, or if any text is highlighted, then why that particular text is highlighted. Do not assume 0% similarity is always necessary. It's not always necessary, and it should not be. 0% similarity should not be there, because, as I've already mentioned, no research is like, it's like out of the box. Every research is based on the, past research. And in case, if the research is out of the box or something very new, then 0% similarity is fine. Even these days, the supervisors also, they just, share with the researchers that, no, it should not be 0%, because 0% raise the questions, more questions, why it is 0%, the entire PhD, and it is only 0%. So 0%, it's not. And then if it should be 0%, it's not like that it should always be 0% similarity. One more thing is, like, sometimes it happens, the researchers, they do compare the report generated using different softwares. That should also not be done, because the coverage of the software is different. Every software, they, cover different articles, different journals. The coverage may be very vast, the coverage may be very limited too, and maybe the software is not covering that particular language. And if yes, both the softwares are covering the language, but then their coverage is different. So it's not that if one of the software is like, it is showing 0%, the other software is showing 4%, then you should, like, it should also show 4%. It should not be there. So you cannot compare both the reports generated through different softwares. Do not remove citations merely to reduce similarity. This is very important, because whenever it is asked, as per UGC regulation, references may be, can be excluded for scrutinizing the content. So the researchers, they think that even the in-text also need to be excluded. No, in-text are the part of the research, part of the article. So those in-text need not to be removed. They should always be there. Do not write mechanically to manipulate the score. It's not like mechanically here means like if the technical words are coming into picture, if the technical words or the common phrases or the formulas, if they are highlighted by the software, then you are writing in a way to manipulate the score. So it should not be. You need to be honest. That's the thing. The researcher need to be transparent, need to be honest, and we have nothing to do, nothing should be taken care to manipulate the score. Score will automatically come. Just one has to evaluate that whatever the score is being displayed by the report is, genuine, or maybe if it is not, you think the researcher thinks it's not genuine, there is some issue with it, then go through the report, because this is the report which is generated by a tool, by the it's just the assistance the tool is providing to the scholars. So it's not human. So that is why one can just go through the report. Review matches and correct citation or paraphrasing problems. So all these need to be taken care of, need to be considered very seriously, while using any plagiarism detection softwares. Now, there are different features of detection softwares. Now, what are those features? It's a similarity index score. We have already, not discussed this thing, that it shows the similarity score, not the plagiarism score or the plagiarism index. There are sources matching. So these are the, the list of the sources from where the uploaded software has been, matched with it. Database comparison. So database contains journals, blogs, whatever is accessible online. Even student papers is actually the repository. So even there are billions of papers in the repository. So when a content is uploaded, that particular content is even compared with the content which is available in the repository also. Then exclusion options are there. We can exclude it, and then even we can exclude the source also. But the thing is, it is always advisable to do not exclude any source in order to reduce the similarity. Because what happens, course references, they are excluded, and just while setting the preferences only, the course references can be excluded. But while generating the report, once the report is generated, at that time, if the exclusion option is exercised, that is not advisable until and unless it is very important and nothing can be worked out to exclude it. The reason is that this exclusion option, the source exclusion option I'm talking about, the source exclusion option, which we exercise on the online report, it's just temporary in nature. Once if the source is excluded, the similarity will be reduced. Once the report is generated, that's it. So whatever the report, for example, online it is coming 20%, the source is excluded, it is reduced, and the similarity is now 5%. The report is downloaded. Now, I have the report with me, which contains 5% similarity score. What happens? The next second, if that particular version or the particular article or whatever research content is uploaded, it will show 20%, the original one. So that is why it is always advisable that do not exclude any source, until and unless it is, very much important or nothing can be done. So in that case, exclusion, and that can be justified also whenever, things come up, or any justification is required, or any clarification is, sought from the scholar, that can be justified or clarified. So that exclusion can be done. AI generated text option. AI generated text detection. Yes, AI generated text detection, that is nowadays all the softwares, they are providing the AI generated, the report which shows that the content, the extent of the content generated using AI tools. So that is why all the softwares that are in place, so all the softwares they are providing it, and even through Turnitin provides the report in two different segments. If anyone has gone through that, it gives in two different segments. One segment contains a percentage which shows AI text generated, and the another segment that shows the AI text paraphrased. So paraphrasing could be possible for language editing also, and for language editing any software can be used. So for language editing, maybe the publishers, they can accept it. It depends on the policy of the publisher, policy of the journal, whether they are accepting it or not. So that is why the publisher policy also need to be revisited in order to to format it. And one should know from the beginning only that whether this version will be accepted by the journal, by the publisher or not. Now, how do plagiarism detection tools work for institutions? So they, they help us. They are actually assisting in giving the proper citations and preventing publication misconduct, because when the researcher or knows that whatever he or she is writing will be scrutinized using these softwares, then obviously the misconduct somewhere, the instances of misconduct, they that they are reduced now. And supporting peer review, it is also supporting peer review, because you can consider these reports as the peers only. So it's a kind of peer, the report. It's a kind of peer which helps us, or which provides us the unbiased, the advice, that by highlighting the content which is in place, that this content need to be edited. Now there are free and commercial PDFs available. Now there are free PDFs also they are available, and for the commercial PDFs, they are expensive in nature. So sometimes the scholars they use the free PDFs to scrutinize the work. But then there are few things, there are few components that are very important to understand before using any of the free software. Content storage, content is not getting stored somewhere. Report is downloadable. If you are uploading your content, the entire report need to be downloaded, because sometimes it happens, because free does not comes with everything free. It comes with certain terms and conditions. So maybe while downloading the report, it is like it is asking the premium amount, or any upgradation in terms of monetary things. So then repository. So when a commercial PDF, when they have all the PDFs, they have the repository. Then maybe the free softwares, they also have the repository, and your hard work, your the content in which you have invested so much of your time and energy, it deposited somewhere, then it becomes difficult for the scholar to remove that from the repository, because in commercial PDFs one can connect with the vendors and all, but free softwares, to whom to connect with in such kind of situation. So that is why the websites need to be explored before using your content, or before uploading your content, before using the website in order to scrutinize your work. So these need to be these are the things that need to always be kept in mind before using any kind of free software. One more important thing is, like the students, they always face such kind of challenge when they visit another institution and they get their content checked, and it is deposited in their repository. So the parent organization won't be able to help in such situation, because the accounts of different organization varies, and one cannot one organization or one organization cannot access different account of the organization. So one has to be one has to be aware of such kind of situation, that if one is visiting to another organization, or sharing the content with someone in order to scrutinize the content through the PDFs associated with different organization, then If it gets deposited in the repository, then the parent organization cannot help the researcher, and that respective organization can resolve the issue in such situation. So we have repository in PDS. So it's like content. If it gets deposited in the PDS, repository, then either the administrator can help it or the vendor. So these are the two, points, or you can say these are the only two destinations where one has to, reach in order to, to get the things resolved in such kind of challenge. Either the administrator, but the administrator of the respective organization, or some situation like everything gets deleted from the account, then only we do have vendor to help us in such situation. Now, what is a similarity report? It shows percentage. It highlights matched text. Whatever the text which is uploaded is highlighted, which means it is similar to the one which is already published. So that means the highlighted text needs attention. Then it gives lists of original sources, the sources to what the researcher has consulted to. It helps identify direct copying, because direct copying is like if one is not putting the quote with the double quotations, then it will identify that it's a direct copy. And improper citation, wherever the citation is not given properly, then too it will be cited as or it will be considered as a plagiarism. Now this is the a report. This is a page of the report. So here you can see a sentence which is highlighted, excluding off migration. Now off migration is excluded, and off migration is not highlighted. So the researcher is always under the impression that the PDS is highlighting the common words. Now, what is actually the reason? The reason is that this content or this word is replaced with a synonym. Synonym is the migration, might be some other word over here. And that is why the rest of the sentence is highlighted. And one more important thing is, like, replacing the word with a synonym will also not reduce the similarity. It won't help in reducing the similarity. So rather than wasting time on replacing the word with synonym, it would be better to proper paraphrase it in your own style, in your own vocabulary, the own expression, rather than changing the word or replacing the word with a synonym. Now, there are certain limitations of PDS. We cannot say it's a foolproof, and whatever it shares with the researcher, it's it's like one has to believe it. It has also certain limit. Every tool has certain limitation. So does the PDS has. Cannot always detect paraphrased plagiarism. May give false positive. It gives false positives as well. It requires human judgment. And then whenever whenever there is a wherever there are equations, images, or technical content. So whenever there is such scenario, then also PDS is unable to detect. And it's a tool. It's not a final decision maker. So expert, or you can say the owner of the content is the best person, to interpret result and to just find out. So the output from PDS, it need to be scrutinized carefully, because it only detects the word which is matches. So that is why it is said it's a similarity matching software. So maybe it's only similarity and it's not an instance of plagiarism. So that is what human interpretation is required. So it's only detect the similarity with the published document. If it is unpublished one, then definitely the content cannot be matched. And obviously the online sources. The offline sources remains undetected. And these softwares also, they do not support all languages. They also have the limitations. Now, AI, coming to the AI and academic research. Now, AI, it supports. So there are certain tasks that AI assists to the researchers. Maybe it's a literature review, exploring the literature, editing of the language, translation, data analysis, visualization. So these are a few of the tasks, in which the AI provides assistance to the scholar. And AI should assist research. It should not replace scholarly thinking, because AI cannot think in a way, the scholar thinks. So that is why, the AI should be considered as an assistant tool. It's only AI assisting tool only. And the best model is AI assisted human led research. Assistance can be, AI can provide assistance, and the research is conducted by the human. There are responsible uses of AI in academic writing. Now, grammar correction, language can be edited. Grammar, language can be polished. Now, translation or improving clarity, that can be done. Generating keywords or search strategies. Now, but if I'm unaware of some keywords that are related to my research work. So here AI can help me in sharing those keywords also that are related to my research. And in this way, what should be the search strategy, so that, like, for example, a bibliographic database, like if I'm using Web of Science or Scopus, so if I have this search strategy which will help me to just search the entire data that covers my research, then this is a task I can just take the assistance from the AI. The ideas can be organized. It should not be generated. It should be organized using AI. And the explanation of the concepts. It's not only statistical concepts or the coding. Any concept which I want to get more understanding or in-depth understanding, or maybe in a very simple word I want to understand. I'm just a beginner. I want to understand the concept. The book which I am referring to, the language, I'm unable to understand it. I'm just a beginner. So in this way, I can just use the prompts and just take the help from the AI to just, as a beginner, to explain the concepts, for the better understanding. Now, there are threats also, or the risks or the challenges of using AI in research, which is like incorrect information or fabricated references. Yes, this is very common. I think most of us might have encountered such challenge, that it gives the phantom references. So never get into that to get the references generated using AI. It never gives even references. If you give a reference and you say to provide a DOI, there are 10 articles. I asked the AI to give the DOIs of such article instead of going to individually to each of the article. To save my time, the DOI will also not function. It will be given as a false link if you cross-check it. So that is whatever information we are just getting from the AI, fact check is very important. Critically evaluate the information, shared by the AI. AI hallucinations and inaccurate interpretations. Yes, inaccurate interpretations is like, I want to say something else. And then, if I say language editing part only, if I take this task, using AI, I want to edit the language, right? I edit the language. While doing so, it may happen that the version gets distorted. So it's very important that whatever I want to say, I want to convey to the researchers in my research, whether the version shared by the AI in a form of, a polished version, whether it is the same version is, conveying the same message what I want to say. Because sometimes or many times it happens, if you use the grammar softwares, those softwares that check the grammatical bugs, so they only prompt you with the suggestions. Now it's up to the researcher whether to accept those suggestions or to reject it. Now, accepting those suggestions in a condition where the version is conveying the same message which I want to convey. So in a situation where the message or the version gets distorted, then that version need not to be accepted. That is why each and every prompt need to be gone through. You cannot select each and every prompt. You cannot accept each and every prompt. Even you, if one is using any grammar softwares, those softwares that are correcting the grammatical bugs, those softwares also, one has to go through each of the suggestion, whether it is, my version is not getting distorted, then that suggestion can be accepted. Now, lack of transparency. Transparency is important in the research, at every stage. Whenever AI tool is used, it is very important to share this information in a disclaimer, that for what purpose or to what extent an AI tool is used in the research, for what purpose AI tool is used, at what stage of the research it is used, and the findings. Obviously, one has to share this thing. The finding is not affected with the use of AI tool. So this information need to be shared in case if an AI tool is used. So the purpose of using AI, what stage of the research, and obviously why the AI tool is, the findings is they are not the finding is not affected using AI. So that is why it also lacks of transparency, and transparency and honesty both are the important components of the research. Now, potential misuse in authorship and academic integrity. Now, here what happens? We cannot, hold AI cannot hold the authorship. We cannot, hold the AI responsible for any kind of clarification that will come up in future. Ultimately, researcher will be the person who will take the who will be accountable or responsible for whatever is being produced by the researcher. So at any point of time, at any stage, even after 5 years or 10 years, only the researcher has to, take this responsibility to provide any kind of justification or clarification. AI cannot hold this responsibility. Now, AI hallucinations, here, what does it mean? Like it appears, the information which the AI provides is false, inaccurate. So fact checking is important. Whatever information AI is sharing, whether that need to be considered for research work or not. Then possible fabrications like DOI, I've already shared with the DOI. So it's like fabrication, it's a false link. Many times it happens, the DOIs, if I give a citation and I ask to provide a DOI, many times it happens that DOI won't work. It will be a false link. So in this way, fabrications are also shared with AI. Now, shared by AI. And then always independently, one has to verify the facts, the references, one has to fact check it, whatever information is shared by AI. AI and academic integrity. Now here one has to, this is like, there are few checks. Did AI generate the idea or the text? So that need to be considered, that whether this particular idea is generated by the AI or the idea or the text. Was the information independently verified? Has AI been disclosed where required? It is very important. The use of AI need to be disclosed wherever it is required. Be honest, be transparent. And does the institution or journal permit the use? It's very important because, whenever you are disclosing it, the public, the journal, if the journal has the policy to use AI for language editing, for grammar correction, then definitely that will be accepted. So this need to be, the information need to be collected by the researcher. Responsibility for the final work remains with the author researcher. Ultimately, the author, the researcher will be responsible, will be accountable for the research or the intellectual output. Now, this is a responsible AI research workflow. Human research question, a question is there, explode the research. Different research independently verified the information shared by the AI. Critically evaluate those information. The analysis, obviously, it will be the analysis of the researcher, because the way the researcher thinks, the AI cannot think in that way. So it's like researchers maybe might be innovative way, might be a creative way to analyze the content, then transparent documentation, and then ultimately it becomes the responsibility of the any intellectual output or scholarly output that comes into limelight, or that comes into picture, becomes the responsibility of the human only. Now here, researcher and AI partnership. Now AI is good at obviously speed, pattern recognition, because it recognizes the pattern of the researcher. When you start searching it, it recognizes the pattern and it provides you the information. Even the level also. If once you ask for the advanced level, it will provide you, in future also, whenever you give the prompts, it will provide you with the advanced version only, the advanced version of any concept. Summarization, language assistant, idea generation. And these are the responsibility of the authors. And when we compare both the responsibility, the AI is good at the tasks of the AI and the tasks of the researcher. We can see that the responsibility lies with the researcher only. And the researcher is the only one who is doing the important work. The interpretation, source verification, and all these components, all this is important while conducting a responsible research. Now, before submitting a research, it is important that one need to have need to go through all these things. Have I acknowledged all borrowed ideas? Have I cited all sources used? Are direct quotations clearly marked? Means put within double quotations. At a glance only, a reader or another researcher can make it out. It's a quotation. It's a direct quotation. Paraphrased effectively. Check the reference accuracy. The accuracy of the references need to be checked. Reviewed the similarity report. Verified AI-generated content. Followed institutional guidelines, and is the work genuinely my own scholarly contribution? This is very important question a researcher need to ask. It's the answer that a researcher can only give, that whether it is my own scholarly contribution or 50% of the partnership goes to AI. So this is an important question for the researchers. Now, this is very important to understand. This is a Shodhganga homepage, and where there are 191 central universities, and these are CFTIs. They're also part of it. It's a rich source of information. So whatever research you are producing, it's like the thesis work. It's going on the open access. It's going on the open access portal. And now what is happening? Even the report which is generated using the software, this is also mandatory to be uploaded. So previously, only the content which was accessible, which was available and accessible to the researcher. But now what is happening? Even the report of the research is also available and accessible publicly to the peers. So that is why it is very important. The research need to be taken very seriously. It's not only like today I have submitted my research and it's the responsibility is over. It's a responsibility you are bearing for a lifetime. A researcher is bearing the PhD thesis, even for a research article also, for a long time. Research article at any point of time, even after 5 years or 10 years also, the research article, if anything, comes into a limelight, the article is retracted. And that is why we have a database, a retraction database, retraction watch database in place, which shows the retracted articles, and even it shows the reasons also. It gives a reason also that why a particular article is retracted. So if one visits to that, database, one will also come to know, which will help them, to in order to understand the reason, because sometimes it's like one is ignorant of this reason could be, could be a big enough to retract an article. So, we cannot even think of that reason, and that reason could become for the retraction of the article. So reasons can also be there for uneven fields, the discipline wise, the year wise, the way that, the database can be browsed or navigated. So one will come to know the number of retractions happening in one particular field or in a specific field, and also the reasons. So this page is, deliberately I want to bring this page into, or Shodhganga into picture, in order to share with the researchers that now the plagiarism report is also uploaded along with the full text thesis. So full text thesis is accessible along with the plagiarism report. So that is why it's very important to take the plagiarism detection softwares and AI. All these three components very seriously, very, with responsibility, constructively. You have to use AI constructively in the research work. Using AI or keeping away, keeping away yourself with the AI is not advisable. It's not advisable anyway. But the thing is, a constructive use is important. It should not affect the research as a whole. Now, these are the few key takeaways. Read ethically, write originally, cite honestly, check carefully, use technology responsibly, and think critically. So academic integrity is not it's not about avoiding a percentage. It's like it is about being honest about the origin of knowledge. So, at the complete stage, at every stage of the research, one has to remember honesty and transparency. And one important thing is accountability. Honesty, transparency, and accountability. These are the important pillars of the research. These are the important, not only important components, these are the pillars of the research. And one should not compromise at any stage of the research, because these are the ones, if any one of the pillar is compromised, the entire research, we can say, will be compromised. Now, ethical research is essential for scientific credibility, because the credibility lies on the research that has followed the ethical guidelines. And this, falsification, fabrication, plagiarism, it's a kind of misconduct, and it undermines your knowledge and trust. Researchers must uphold, that's all, integrity, honesty, and accountability. And publication ethics is the backbone of. So the main important thing is, the crux is, maintaining integrity is not just a choice, it is a responsibility. It's a complete responsibility of the researchers. So I acknowledge the internet sources for preparing the presentation, and happy writing and citing. Thank you. This is all from my side. And I'm here for the question answers, and I think.
Yeah, so I think, so now the floor is open. I think any questions, doubt you have, please, one by one, please ask the questions. So ma'am is speaking continuously since 1.5 hours. So please, any questions, please raise your hand and unmute yourself and speak.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, Shipra ma'am, and it was a fantastic presentation. You clarified most of the doubts, but at the same time, this arrival of AI has created a lot of problem. Although we write originally, but still when we use that Turnitin or any such kind of mechanisms, I mean the use, it is found that there are similarities. So I mean, if it is my original work also, it reflects so. So how is it possible to avoid that? And the beautiful quote, I would love to say that again and again, that AI assisted human led research. That's beautiful, ma'am. But can you just clarify